Hello and welcome to Holistic Flow. I'm your host, Julie Francis, an astrologer, coach, and founder of Wild Radiance Collective. And today we are joined by Heidi Weiland. And Heidi is the founder of Service with Soul. She helps spiritual entrepreneurs grow thriving, easeful businesses that align with their sensitive nature, neurodivergence, and a deep commitment to wellness. She blends strategy, systems, processes with nervous system awareness. She uses emotional healing and intuitive guidance to guide her services and support her clients. Thank you so much for being here, Heidi. I'm so thrilled to be chatting with you today.
Thank you so much. I just love that intro and the bio. I feel like as a business owner, we go through so many different ways of like trying to communicate what we do, and that like just the nature of my work is a little bit different. And so I just feel like, well, yeah, that bio right there really nailed it. So I'm glad that was what I sent you because I probably forgot.
That's
Um,
phenomenal.
yeah, thank you so much for having me. I just love so much to connect with other like-minded people on the business journey. I feel like, part of what led me into my work was realizing that I didn't fit into a lot of business spaces. And so it's really precious to me when I can find other people who will resonate in, some form or fashion, and like create real relationships with. So I'm super grateful to be here with you, Julie.
Thank you. Yes, I'm really grateful too. And I love that word you use to describe precious, that it is really precious to find like-minded business folks because um, we're in this in-between space where so much of the world continues to be very fast-paced and focused on hustle. And then you've got people like us that are kind of trying to create a new connection with business and how we run business and how we connect with one another, even in how we do our business exchanges. Like for me, example, even on my back end stuff and how I like to work on the nitty gritty stuff, like payments or making charitable contributions or I'm trying to think of something else right now and I can't, but like these
Yeah.
minute details that aren't always at the forefront, and as small business owners that can bring some of these other values and the way we operate into everything
Yeah.
that we do is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Like even in the transactions of trying to make them less transactional and like more human, how can we do that in our businesses in ways? I definitely feel the difference, like between getting caught in someone's funnel where they're just trying to like push me through and don't really care about the experience other than trying to sell me more things, then when I get into someone's like flow and like they're really intentional and thinking about me on a human level. I'm like, yes, like this is like, I want to be there. I want to be like able to be a human and not just like some dollar bills that are like in the internet and trying to get sucked into someone else's bank account.
Yes, yeah, actually that's a really good point to think of, like that nurturing connection in that way. And that is a huge part of even doing business different, is how we relate to our clients. And
Yeah.
I I think that it's shifting in all the best ways, and that it's I swear it helps people that are buying, like I buy, I'm a client, or somebody that is my client. I think it actually literally takes this weight off their nervous system,
Mm,
like off their
yeah.
minds, off their bodies, like the
Yeah.
stress is eased. And it's also more empowering
Yeah.
to give them this space and choice where they're not just a number being funneled or things like that. And this is, oh my gosh, I love this. Tell me more about what you do, or tell us, all of us, about what you do and how you bring these things into your clients who are business owners.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you support them?
So, just a little background on my story to kind of explain this is I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. My first business started as a web development company, and so it was like tech stuff, and I grew that in all different ways. And essentially, I just burned myself out completely, and so as the antidote, I started really getting deep into yoga. I became a yoga teacher, then Ayurveda, and then life coaching, and like all these wellness practices, but I kept them separate. And what I realized at one point is like, actually, like I need to combine them all. I need it for me, and I'm not the only one. So what I do then is I have, a deep understanding of business processes and operations and just like the basics of business that I've, learned or taken like trainings in along the way. And then I have all of this like wellness insight, and I'm a healer. And, and so like I help people grow businesses without leaving them to the side, right? It's not just about I think a lot of business information that's taught is like, here's the way that you do the things, and you don't even think about whether that's the best way for you, or if not everyone wants to work 40 hours a week. That's why we go into business for ourselves, but then we end up working 60 hours a week. And like, there's so many different ways that we can do things, but when we start to listen to ourselves and our values and our own insight, we can discover the best way for us. So that's really kind of what I do. And then like we figured out what is the strategy for you, and then I support them to implement it and go through the process of growing and learning and succeeding.
I love that. I come from a tech and operations and systems and workflows
Mm,
background as well.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you're like speaking my language, and so I'm curious, as someone that has those, so we know that with Wild Radiance Collective, we're very focused on holistic well-being and self-expression, and feeling your best, um, and doing that holistically. And I also run my business that way. But I've never thought, how would I teach somebody else to do this? Like I know how to do it
Mhm.
myself, and I
Yeah.
know how to for example, astrology being one of my main modality. And I allow astrology to guide me and to help me guide my clients. But I'm wondering, what are your points that you draw from to help create these strategies and systems
Yeah.
for your clients?
Yeah. So oftentimes when I start working with someone, we do a planning process. And that includes, so it's, typical business planning. It's like, looks at like your marketing and your sales operations, all that. But this, we really ground into, okay, like what are your values? What's your energy? Like, what's your human design? Are you someone who is more intuitively guided? What like wellness practices do you need to thrive? Like, what do you know already? And maybe like, what are some ideas to help them, also like incorporate this into how you spend your day. But like, that's the foundation. And so when we take them as the foundation, the client, then every other decision is made from that place. So if we're looking at when do we plan to do a launch, do we plan for January or February? And we know that like you need more space. Like you really don't want to work that 40-hour week. Then it becomes very clear that you give yourself more time, or with your values, like we were just talking about in like the processes behind the scenes. It can help you decide, well, do I go with this software that has this vibe,
Mm,
or this other software that has a softer vibe, and which aligns more with your values. So it's kind of like we identify those guiding points and then use them throughout the planning and like running the business process.
yeah, that's so. I'm hearing like there's a lot of almost energetic alignment that happens. Like you're
Mhm.
really attuning to what's going on with them on an energetic level and helping them connect with that. And I love, it's so fascinating. Like if I had just said what you said, um, in describing how I help some of my clients. I do have some clients that are entrepreneurs that I help with. Um, and but it would all have astrology references throughout. And it's so interesting how and this is one of the things I love about information and learning and connecting with everybody is that we both have these different lenses that we look through and that we use to help and hold. And while they can be vastly different, although I know human design does have
Mhm.
connections to astrology, I actually don't know anything about human design though. I just know that we can still pull out these really important pieces of helping someone understand themselves and know
Mhm.
what they want and need and reflect.
Yeah.
And that's just mind-blowing to me, like just to have so many options. And as a systems person, I love systems that help us to do
Mhm.
those things. So um that is
Yeah,
that's
and
beautiful.
I feel like this, like one of the common threads is that we're actually giving people permission to consider themselves in the equation, right? And to really like, and part of considering themselves is to deeply understand and be on this journey of continued self-discovery and adaptation to life.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think we're not given that enough. And oftentimes, especially in more of a, you know, a business or corporate space, like maybe kind of some of the ones that you've
Hmm.
experienced, we're not only not given that, we're kind of told you can't pay attention to it. Like it's like,
Yeah,
oh no, just leave
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I think what's happening more and more is that more and more businesses are starting to take, maybe not on the larger scale, especially not right now with all the DEI cutbacks, but because for me, the DEI cutbacks are related to things such as considering your intuition or mind, body, spirit, and bringing that. So I think that there's a lot of power that can come into tuning into your intuition and um, your energy, as you've described, and that when we do that, we really do unleash ourselves in the best way possible into what we're trying to create.
Yeah.
And it's so useful and so powerful. And um, tell me something else. Tell me more about what, like, how, what's your favorite thing to help a client through?
Mm. I love it when clients are like they say things like one of my longtime clients, says something like one of our biggest things to work on together is to just help her support her nervous system. You know, as she's building her business and like figuring out all these difficult things. And I just love that awareness and the desire and the also just that like recognition of like, okay, I like we're in a partnership, um, and I'm a resource for folks, and I'm here to support them in ways when they invite me in, you know. Um, and I think it's because it's different when oh we're just going to put together some plan and then I send it over to you and that there's not like an ongoing like uh, feeding of the vision and the human and the client because I just love to see them blossom and go through all the growth
Yeah.
because quite a journey as an entrepreneur. It really is from getting like deciding that you're going to do it to starting up to like getting going and taking it to the next level. And there's so much growth that happens and so much challenge that, yeah, I just love to be a partner in that journey.
Yeah, you're right. It is such a huge journey and it doesn't really ever stop. Like once you've joined that car ride, it just keeps going. There's always something
Doesn't.
new.
Yeah.
And I nervous system regulation is huge.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I could not, and I wanted to speak to that. Like, I can't do it without it. Without nervous system regulation, I can't, it wouldn't work. And also without like surrendering to inner guidance or like a larger power, whatever that is, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because it's a lot for me. I'm pretty sensitive and My energy isn't always there. And so part of what burned me out is just trying to push through and do things the way I thought that they were supposed to be done without listening to myself. And it's like, it won't work that way. So
Yeah.
I really, yeah, this is the way.
Yeah. The other thing you said that I really loved is how you talked about it being such a collaborative experience. And there's really something special about being invited. And yeah, I think that's one of the words you used was being invited to help somebody with something, because we can work with a client and give them great support and give them everything they could possibly need, but there's always room for more support if they allow themselves to be vulnerable. And that's just such an
Mhm.
honor to be able to be in connection with people with, because it goes back to this giving and receiving and reciprocal energy of collaboration that I think is so important as we move into business. Kind of speaking back to what we were talking to at the beginning of really trying to make sure we're nurturing and wanting to connect with the folks that we are working with, whether we're collaborating with them as like a colleague or a peer, or if we want to be in a leader to client relationship. That
Yeah.
I think that is one of the most valuable pieces that needs to shift in the world. And I think we're doing it, and people are feeling it, and it changes everything. And then it opens up when they've had that experience, it opens up a new level with them, for them to then connect with others in a similar way. And
Hmm.
it's very much this ripple effect that I think is so
Yeah.
valuable.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. I definitely feel like I'm deep in this deconditioning of this. Because I grew up in Alaska, kind of like on my own. Was alone a lot as a kid, like very strong independent culture, and I'm an introvert. So I have this, tendency to just be like on my own. And so there's moments where it's very natural for me to nourish relationships, but there's definitely like more opportunity and growth and desire to open up into that to a deeper level. So yeah, I feel like there's some cultural programming around that I'm continuing to work on and develop. So part of my this year, part of my marketing strategy is networking. It's connecting with people, and I've been doing it for maybe 4 months with more intention. And I, just recently realized that it's not about connecting with a bunch of people. It's about finding the people that you vibe with and then really creating actual relationships where you're caring about them. I'm not just going through a list and checking like, hey, I put a heart on their thing on social. I'm like actually paying attention and giving them love from, across the internet
Yeah.
and caring about them. And that feels so good to me, so much better than checking off a list, right?
Yeah, it's so different. It's I love that you mentioned this, because this is something I've literally been experiencing just in the last few weeks. That that deep connection that we can give to one another, and to mean it, no matter what happens at the end of the conversation, to just really want to connect with somebody. And then
Yeah.
if they are interested in wanting to work with you, like, great. And if not, you've made this really wonderful connection. And like, we need more of that. We need more. I'm not coming up with the words quite this second. Just a moment. We need more non-outcome driven connections.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether we're in
That's
business or regular life.
it's exhausting. And that's part of like when I went into coaching, I was in this world that there was a lot more transactional stuff happening like that. And that was like always seeking the outcome. I That was how I was trained. And then like it was horrible, it's exhausting. I don't like it. And so that's also I'm deconditioning that too. And that's part of seeing business processes and just all aspects of it from this different lens, this human centered place.
Yes, human centered.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. And it brings our own humanity out more of us as well. And that brings that compassion to the forefront. And
yeah,
I think that um, I'm hoping and obviously I'm going to drop an astrology reference. I'm hoping that with Pluto and Aquarius that we do see more of these shifts. That's what I'm hoping. That we're going to see more of these collective concerns become more mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I would hope, and I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit nervous. I don't um I know we've never talked politics. I mean, honestly, we haven't talked much at all, but I'm personally, and for my community, just a little concerned about what that might look like over the next 4 years, you know, and what this 4 year period of time might create as a negative ripple effect for some of these really wonderful things, and the wonderful things that are possible, and to be where we are at now and creating these and having just where I feel like some of these things have really been able to thrive and have been
Mm-hmm.
be able to grow and to some extent become far more mainstream. Um, we're just at this teetering point of, will that change? Could that change?
Yeah.
And are we going to backstep? Like, are we going to have to, was this like a 5 steps forward, 6 steps back, or 5 steps back? Like, what, you know?
Yeah.
So that's definitely on my mind.
I feel like no matter what is to come, like the direction is to connect more and support one another. Like community is a huge part of, like, on all like levels in our society, of what we're missing, of that support, that deep support of like knowing that like there are people there who see you and you are safe, and in business, you know, at home, in your neighborhood. I, that's, I think that, especially looking into, like, we don't have kids. A lot of my friends, I mean, I'm in my 40s, like most of my friends do not have kids. I've got aging parents, so we're constantly thinking about, okay, well, what's happening? Like, what's going to be in a year? Like,
Mm.
like, and so then you think about that for yourself. I think about that for myself. And my brain is just, it doesn't have any clear answers other than like, I'm feeling drawn towards connection of like, I want to be with people, I want to be in community. I don't have to have all the answers. I want to us to just like find answers together, because I'm a limited human being, and there's a lot of these problems that we're experiencing are so much bigger than one human, but when we're together, that it becomes more manageable. So no solid answers, but that's where I kind of lean into.
Yeah, I'm going to take that in too. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think that's important. I think that that is what we do need to be leaning into. For sure. Yeah. Oh, that's so, I'm just still sitting with that, and you said it so well. I'm it, it it really ties into why I created Wild Radiance Collective,
Mm,
wanting to create a safe space for people to come together, and have these experiences with one another. And I right now I'm getting a little emotional.
that's great.
I can feel it
Yeah,
behind my eyes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like absolutely. And so you said that really, really well. And it I'm going to bring it right to talking about your workshop. So Heidi
yeah.
is offering a workshop at Wild Radiance Collective at the end of this month. Wait, yes, the end of this month on February 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern. And we offer these live on Zoom. And then we also offer a replay. And I'm really excited to hear you tell me more about this workshop. It's called Align with Your Dream Life. And after having just talked with you about everything we've just said, and to feel so deep, I'm totally curious about what your birth chart is like now. I'm like, oh my gosh, I so want to see your birth chart, because I can feel your sensitive nature coming through, and I can feel that
Mm,
energy, and to be able to connect with someone in that way over a virtual experience like this so deeply is really special.
mm.
um, so yeah, tell us more about this workshop.
Yeah. I love this workshop because it's a combination of like concrete boots on the ground strategy, but with like a deep like deeply rooted in your own inner guidance and your own energy and vision. So it combines essentially energy work with visualization and clearing to clear the space, because oftentimes when we're thinking about our dream life, there's things that feel heavy or blocking it, and it's to do some of that clearing and then open up into the vision of what it is that you want for yourself, whether that is a concrete vision or simply a way of feeling and being. And then from there, just putting a few like next steps of like, okay, how do I bring this actually into my day to day? So people walk out with a very, very simple plan, or at least like just feeling like they have a clear direction. So everyone is a little different in where they're at in their journey, but yeah, it's really lovely.
It sounds lovely. It sounds amazing. I love that it includes energy work and visualization. Those are two of my big favorite things for sure. Also, as
Mhm.
someone who's sensitive, and um it's really important to find that clear space to be in before so many thoughts or ideas can kind of come through in a more cohesive way, because
Yeah,
I know for one,
yeah.
um and this is funny. This is really interesting. I'm so excited for your workshop because I want to see how your experience brings me through my process. My process tends to get really, really big, and then I have to
Hmm.
contract. And
Yeah,
sometimes I make a lot of mistakes along along the way to getting to
yeah.
that contracted gold. And so I really love the idea of leaning into those things to help get to that point. And um, it's just, it does. It sounds really nice. And I think today, especially, I'm yearning for that kind of experience so much. Today's the full moon in Cancer. It's
Mm-hmm.
conjunct Mars retrograde, and it's it's a bit much for me in my neck of the woods and some of the folks I've spoken with. So I don't know how you're doing today, but right now, hearing that idea of your workshop sounds really reassuring and really exactly like I'm visualizing myself doing your workshop right now. And it feels nice. It feels really nice.
Okay. That's, yeah, that's my goal, is to always like start the workshop helping the nervous system to just like calm and help you center and ground. And so and that way it's like it's easier to access your own inner wisdom and have like confidence in what's coming through, versus just like, oh, I'm going to make these decisions, like this is what I want, and then you leave and you're like, but it doesn't like resonate with me like full body.
Yeah.
So now what? I'm more lost.
Yeah, for sure. I have definitely at times tried to do make choices out of alignment, and it literally feels like an idea sitting next to me that I can look
Yeah.
at and like
Yeah.
assess, and like and I want to be
Yeah.
like, well, let's do this together, but like
Yeah.
we're not on the same page.
Yeah. I know. Totally.
Yeah, a full-bodied hell yes is needed for so many things. And also along the way, sometimes there's a lot of that exploration of the no's or the mistakes, and
Yeah.
like to get to that full-bodied yes. Like,
Yeah.
and the best thing I've ever done personally is to stop shaming myself for that. Like, recognize like, okay, I wish maybe that had gone differently, but this is what I learned. And
Yeah.
or I thought about this and I wasted 3 hours in a rabbit hole, but now I know this. Like, I'd rather have those experiences to then reaffirm kind of what I already knew sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like that they are actually on the path to getting to the place that you want. It's just like you got to like wander off and then be like, "Oh yeah, okay. I did that and now I'm I'm going to wander back this other way." Cuz and see it as truly valuable. That's been so helpful for me, is, whether I have an idea of where I want to get to, what I want to accomplish for a day, and then it's totally different. I'm like, but like this is I see how this is getting me there. It's just in this weird way, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm allowing myself to have my own process. And sure, if there's things I could do differently, learning, but just like being really gentle and forgiving, because like it's us leading the way, you know?
Yeah, I like that you said valuing it. That's a really nice little reframe that I can add to the way I think of things, because it's nice to not shame myself and to give myself some grace, but then to be like, to remind myself that was a valuable experience. Like on some level, I know it is because I know I'm aware that I've gained something, but to actually state it and claim it as this was valuable in my process, I
Yeah.
love that.
It's been really useful where I had a medical procedure last year, and I had to like call the insurance company so many times,
Oh
right? Because
no.
it was all messed, everything was so messed up. And and so it's just like every time I'm like, that was, I just spent 2 hours trying to get something, and like that was valuable. Like it's one step further.
Yeah,
You
actually,
know?
that's a really
Other
good example.
Otherwise, I was just, yeah, lots of bitching. So,
Right? Yeah, but you're right. And you had to like put that, check mark and
yeah.
then feel like, oh, it's a great pep talk.
Yeah.
Really good.
And I just got the check on Saturday, and it's like over $2,000. So it was worth it, right?
Woo! Yes. Woo! Yay. So you got it taken care of and you got it, the
Yeah.
bonus or the
Yeah.
benefit. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's good. I like it when it comes back into tangible results
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we like that. Not just this good job check mark, but to be like, okay, and now your efforts have given you this.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's nice.
Yeah.
And we don't always get that.
Yeah.
And it can change. It can change so much. So, because then next time you're in a situation where you're like, okay, I've got to do this thing and I'm going to hate it and I'm going to keep doing it. And then, you're going to look back on that and say, I did it. I worked through it. And then at the end, it all worked out as it was supposed to. And had I not stuck with
Yeah.
it, it wouldn't have happened. And it's like this self fulfilling inspiration that you've created for yourself. You will always be able to look
Yeah.
back on that now and say, I did this thing. I can do hard things and make things happen. And I can do it again. This
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's a mess too. It's like oftentimes you don't trust, you don't know, you have no idea what's going on, but just trusting and like allowing it to be what it is. Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the word shame a few times, and I just want to speak to that. I feel like as business owners, and this might be some of the cultural programming that we receive, there's so much shame that we experience, and like that is part of the growth process. To me, owning a business is one of the biggest personal growth processes you can go through, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
like it
Yeah.
shows you these things, and that like that shame piece is a big part of them, because I hear this so often, like I didn't follow my schedule for the day, or I didn't do like what I said I would do, or I didn't meet my financial goals, or all of these things. And um, leaning back into that attitude of like, oh, it is actually valuable. I am learning. I am all of that is such a good antidote for the shame, helping us to learn to start to let that go.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting. So the word shame or the reflection on shame seems to be a thing that I'm working through a lot right now. It's something that I've been speaking to a lot. And this is actually for my astrology folks. I have Jupiter and Gemini transiting in Gemini right now. I also have in my 12th house with Chiron. So these unlearning and discovery of subconscious thoughts and things that are coming up
Mm.
for me has been
Yeah.
playing through a lot. And we're almost halfway through the Jupiter and Gemini transit right now. We still got a little ways to go, but Jupiter also hasn't stationed direct yet. Again, it's been an area I've been thinking about a lot, and I've become really comfortable in talking about it, which I think is
Mm-hmm.
really let's say comfortable. I'll recognize it, notice it, see how it feels in my body, spend time reflecting on it, and then I'll come around to it a few days later. Sometimes when it presents, though, it presents more like anxiousness or uncomfortableness. And then I'll be like, okay, what's going on? It'll take me a little bit. to dig in. But I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
helping our clients to release themselves from that, and it's a
Yeah.
cycle. It will, at least that's how I experience myself, is it's a cycle and it often returns, and it is conditioning. To free ourselves from that is amazing and not an easy process. Definitely, you're often presented with these cyclical experiences. But like, I feel like, for example, with your example, when you were talking about your client who's like, oh, I didn't do what I was supposed to do today or what I had planned to do. Um, each time that happens, but then you have successes and then it happens
Mhm.
again, you're like, okay, well, I didn't do it exactly how I'd planned, but I didn't last time either. And things are okay. And I also feel like that, giving ourselves that flexibility is really important, because as as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a solopreneur, if we do drive ourselves too much into things, like especially with concerns like shame, we're going to start putting more energy into our shameful feelings than into our business. And so, like, constantly redirecting that energy into a proactive space is so important to keep anything going, because we can just become
Yeah.
stuck,
Yeah.
so stuck.
Yeah. And almost and like self-traumatize. I feel like I did that when I was doing a lot of the more aggressive like sales programs, that I just like I felt like I was in the corner with some of the other trauma kids, and we're all like, this doesn't feel right, but we're going to do it anyway, and then keep doing it and keep doing it. And then that became like, now I mean, now I'm super sensitive to that. That's, I mean, I'm grateful because now I'm here, right?
Yeah.
But but I like, was that necessary? I think I like there was no awareness of trauma or nervous system or anything in those programs. And that's why I feel like yeah, like it doesn't work for everybody, and trying to make yourself do something that just feels fundamentally wrong. It's and then you end up, yeah, I actually had to step away for a little bit, and that's good. I mean, that's fine, but I would have preferred to have been more aligned from, the beginning, and it kind of like that's what I want to help my clients avoid, is like, okay, let's do this differently, so that because it's hard anyways. So you don't want to just, yeah, avoid making it harder on yourself if possible,
Yeah.
life will do what it does, but
Yeah,
yeah.
and offer guidance along the way. And that's, you know what, that's one of the biggest things, is that one of the things that I find the most is that I can provide all the tools and resources that my clients need. But at the end of the day, one of the most transformative parts of the experience with them is getting to interact with me and talk and share their
Yeah.
feelings. That's
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
biggest parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be interested to know your human design too. I'm super curious.
So curious. Well, I should send you my details.
Yeah. Yeah. We should trade.
You should. That's awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Heidi, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show and chatting all about this. We've talked about so many different things. It's been just really wonderful to hear your holistic view and your perspective and how you bring it into your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure being here. I wanted to let folks know too that right now I have a free business audit that you can sign up for. So it's a great way to have a conversation with me and get my eyes on your business. And we explore some of the things that we've talked about today. And you can figure out kind of your next steps for your business. So yeah, I invite people to check that out if it resonates.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I will include that in the show notes actually as well, so people can find you. And then also, Heidi, remind me, what is your Instagram handle?
It's my first name, Heidi.Jandel, which is my middle name. Yeah.
Perfect. I was
Whole story
wondering.
behind that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was wondering. So you can connect with Heidi at on Instagram, and I'll include the link to that in the show notes as well, along with getting your free business audit. And you can come and catch this workshop with Heidi live on Wednesday, February 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern time. If you are not able to attend live, we do have access to a replay that you can watch on your own time. And I can already feel how both healing and supportive this workshop is going to be. So I definitely suggest you come checking it out, and we look forward to having you there. Thank you so much, Heidi.
Thank you, Julie. Take care.
You too.